Okay, once you understand what reality is, then you understand what Nirvana is. Okay, basically, it's being retracted all the way to the level of God. All right, you're now, you participate in divine consciousness, except that divine consciousness sees everything, whereas you're going to be seeing nothing. It's pure syntax. You're being retracted into metaformal syntax. So now your consciousness is empty of semantic content.
Hmm.
All right? You're nothing but a metaformal construct. This metaformal syntax element of metaformal syntax that is totally now bound up in itself and is seeing only its own syntax. Delocalized, kind of spread out all over the place, but nevertheless, somehow still sharing in that consciousness, the self-intersection of reality itself. Okay, so that's what Nirvana is in the CTMU.
So when you get retracted into metaformal syntax, does that mean you stop incarnating? Or do you
No,
just,
no, not necessarily.
okay,
Okay, it means that there is something from which you can be projected into a new existence, into a new life. It supports reincarnation, but it does not necessarily mean reincarnation. It doesn't force you to reincarnate. If you are retracted to the level of God and you actually belong there, okay, then divine consciousness is going to absorb you. Most people don't qualify for that. And I hate to have to tell you this, but this is not a democracy, okay? Enlightenment is not something that everybody has in equal measure. Some people are going to try to get there, but they're not going to get there. They will be forcibly reincarnated. They need to exist in a particular universe with particular semantic constructs in it. Otherwise, they don't really experience what they have as existence at all. You've got experiences. Where do we store them? Where do we keep them? Well, it's in this storehouse, okay? They're not talking about anything different than what we've been talking about so far. Your life remains embedded in the conspansive manifold. That's where it's stored, okay? That's what this storehouse of consciousness is. That's where your consciousness lives. And then it lives all the way back to the origin of reality. It's attached to it by a soul. That's what your soul is. Okay? You have to
yeah.
think about reality as a whole and how reality is structured. Only when you understand how reality is structured do you understand where things get stored. In this case, they get stored in the extended superposition of the conspansive manifold. Okay? Now, this is a particularly lucky metaphor because we can figure out what it refers to. Where do you go when you die? You know, where are you stored up, right? Where's your point of retraction? Where can you go after you die? And it's very simple. You're just restricted to your lifespan within the conspansive manifold. That's the compartment in which you're stored. Basically, the only way you can make sense of something like that is to adopt a kind of theistic interpretation in which there is actually a level of consciousness that can be associated with God, and it's being totally retracted to that purely syntactic level of consciousness, metaformal syntax regarding itself. Okay? There has to be a higher self capable of experience for you to talk about, an autonomous being with individual existence, right? Anata says that that's just ephemeral experience.